got this problem. I've got another column this morning.
Yeah.
In the New York News. I think it's something, I don't know whether you get it out there or not, but if you can get a copy of the New York News, you ought to get your boy, get the colonel to go get you a copy of it. It's on page 4. I don't remember the author of it, but Paul Healy is the author.
Yeah.
Paul Healy on page 4. Now it says that it comes from the same source that the other comes by, and that the northern people want a certain individual, the bosses, and it's going to be trouble at the convention, and so on and so forth. I've about concluded that the wise thing for me to do would be to call this fellow over and say, now I've looked at Goldwater, and I see what's happened in Wallace, and I see our problem in the South and the Midwest, and I just don't believe that this number 2 thing that I'm going to be able to recommend you and urge you, and I think you ought to know it. I think I kind of owe it to you, being in the cabinet, so that you don't think, go ahead with your plans here, assuming that it's all right, because I don't think it ought to go that far. The 2 things can come out of it. It can cause some dissension within the party, or it can stop it. Now, what's your judgment?
I think I'd think a little about that, because then that would be putting all the onus on you.
Mm-hmm.
And then you would, I think you might cause something that would be followed by other things. For instance, assume that he would resign.
Mm-hmm.
Then you'd have the thing right out in the open.
Yeah.
I would be, and then it would be that you yourself took this position. I really think that for yourself it's a pretty dangerous one, although it's something that you got to admire you for. But I think that over a little while, because realizing, what's different if you were an old timer in the rank like yourself or myself, but realizing it's not, then you never know what is going to be the consequence of that.
Well, now,
you're ready to meet that.
No.
I'd rather see us not have that kind of a thing up in the convention until after you're nominated.
Well, now, my folks feel, I've talked to some of the careful ones here, they think that this campaign's kind of going on.
Well,
and that if we don't nip it, that they're going to say, well, you were silent, and you kind of, in effect, allowed it to go on. Well, I think my people think they're relying primarily on emotionalism. They think that most of these delegates that go there will be delegates that were there in '60.
That's right.
And will be people that like the name and were friendly.
Yeah.
And that they'll have a demonstration, and they'll say, well, now, this man didn't get to finish his job, and he's got a lot of friends, and we need this name, and we just ought to go ahead and give him a vote.
But then what happens? I'm not only thinking about the convention, I'm thinking of what happens after the convention.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of what happens in the election.
Yeah.
This is fine for the convention.
Yeah.
But in the election, I don't want to, I hope we can work it in such a way that you're not the one to give this information or to tell anyone.
Yeah.
That, it would be by the vote of the convention.
Yeah.
And this would be a much better way for you individually. And then looking at it beyond the Atlantic City.
Well, don't you think, though, that if it's not to be him, I'm going to have to say that I want somebody else?
You will. Oh, you will at the proper time.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think this is the time. I think we're allowing, let them keep talking as long as you keep talking to the heads of the delegations and the different people, and you have confidence in them.
Well,
they've got integrity and they've got some.
I haven't talked to anybody but you and Lawrence.
Yeah. Well, the rest of them, I've been talking to them. They don't see it. And Dave doesn't see it. I had a long talk with him. And I think you might create a situation that would be far more out of balance than if it took its natural course.
Well, I think there's some merit in what you say. I don't want them to leave. I don't want my silence though to indicate that I approve of what they're doing.
Well, I agree with you, but don't forget that you might do it with a, but to do it the way you're mentioning, then that removes all the uncertainty entirely, as far as he's concerned. And then what is the ultimate result? What is he liable to do? I don't know. I don't think you do. And that's the only thing that concerns me, and I wouldn't like to see that happen.
Well, would it be better to happen a month ahead of time, or better to happen the day before the nomination?
Well,